Welcome back, everybody, to This Is My Bourbon podcast. I'm your host, Perry, and with me this week are not, well, I guess they're co-hosts. Kind of. It's Joseph Brazeau and Todd Couper.
Hello, everybody.
Hola.
You know,
Vato?
you know them, you love them. They're part of the community. They're part of this. They support the show as well. And we're here at the Spring Hill Suites by Marriott in Lexington, Kentucky.
Don't forget the word bonvoy.
Bonboy.
Okay. I will try not to, but I got to be honest with you. It's pretty much going in one ear and out the other right now. So Joe came in for just a visit this week.
I did.
And today was kind of the first chance I had to see him. So he took us to brunch this morning.
It's glad I got to see you because I'm leaving in the morning.
And Todd came in as well earlier in the week. So you guys have been here. And I told Joe, what day was that? Thursday, that I needed to record the podcast. And he was like, you need to record it with us then. And so...
Actually, no. I think you said that I need to record it with you.
Our memory of the events is a little bit fuzzy, but it's fine.
I think it's
don't care.
funny since Eric left,
Who?
The other guy.
I don't know who you're talking about.
So since he left, of course, he came to me first. I think it's probably a dig at him.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I do want to let you all know, though, if you want to support the show, just like actually these two gentlemen do on a monthly basis, you can head to patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast for as little as $1 a month, and you can support the show. But at the $5 and up tiers, you can get bonus content every single week, including but not limited to the bonus episodes that come out on Mondays and the pregame chats that come out on Tuesdays, and early access to the main episode of the podcast as well on Tuesdays, uncut, unedited with bonus content just for Patreon.
And I promise you, Perry was not reading all of that from his phone.
No, I was turning up some levels a little bit on the, if you're watching the video version. And yes, there is still a video version this week. We are recording in a meeting room at the Spring Hill. Thank you, Spring Hill, for somewhat sponsoring this episode of the podcast.
Bonboy.
By Marriott.
Patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast. We kick off every episode of the podcast with a segment known as Flying Blind, where I blind somebody with something that they've had before or not. I messed up that part of it. I don't care. I'm moving on. I've got something new. Do you guys want to? I guess it doesn't really work if you know what it is. That kind of defeats the purpose of the blind.
I'll close my eyes.
We'll divert that.
I'll do the Helen Keller thing.
And this is the official episode of the podcast where I get canceled for
making fun of blind people.
You know, she was a leader in her fields.
Her field of vision was crap. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'm losing listeners left, right, and center. Oh, okay. Well, that I still had paper that needed to come off of that.
Oh, fresh crack.
I'm just realizing I need glasses for both of you.
You said crack.
I have some right here. If you want to use these, if you don't have any.
I have glasses for myself.
Yep, there's two right in there.
All right.
And they are clean. So
this is the, oh, Lordy. I don't want to break these. I opened it
gotcha.
while it was still standing up. This is the Glencairn travel set. Not a sponsor, but there it is if you are interested. Todd's got the podcast and it's bourbon night. Glencairn's here. We are ready.
You know, I'm a grown-up. I can get a whole glass of bourbon.
If I poured it to the top, you would have been asleep by dinner.
Yeah.
I learned a long time ago, never let Perry pour you a glass of bourbon.
I've gone from pouring way too much to not pouring enough because of the berry pour.
Smells toasty.
I am just getting a lot of alcohol on the nose immediately.
Well, considering how much and how often we've been drinking all week,
That's true.
I'm kind of not getting a lot of alcohol.
Yeah.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you,
to
boys,
the
for
listeners.
being on this episode.
Thanks for having us.
I don't know about that.
It's a little zingy.
Oh,
Oh, that finish.
Yeah, other than a little bit of toastiness, and I don't get a lot on the nose.
I am not a big fan of that.
that keeps going.
I think it does taste a little green. Feel free to disagree.
No, I don't disagree with you at all. My problem with this, in particular,
You sure you don't want to save this for Festivus?
I got a lot of problems with this pour.
And you're all gonna hear
You're all going to hear about it. My problem in particular with this pour is that this is a brand new release from a series that previously has won my best bourbon of the year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And there is not a snowball's chance in hell
It's going to be in contention for the next one.
this would get it. It's so messy. It's so all over the place. It's young. It feels young. I know it's not like particularly young. It's so hot.
It's a little hot for hot's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think the proof is on this? Like actually is on this?
See, the fact that my palate's so burned out from this one,
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's 118. But it kind of gives me some rye vibes. I was getting that it shot the sides of my tongue. So maybe
Okay.
it's got a little of that spikiness that you would get from a high rye.
I was even going to go high. I was going to say like 125 to 128, up in that range.
Okay.
Yeah, we were drinking on some ECBP the other day that's in the 130s. Doesn't taste quite that high, but
Yeah.
right in there.
Joe, it's crazy how close you were. This is 117.4.
Nailed it.
Boom.
Nailed it.
This is Larceny B525.
Oh, wow.
So I'm getting, clearly I'm not getting like a high rye, but
No,
I'm getting like
this is so
I'm
weird.
getting like it's got to be like barrel spice.
I guess so, but
Maybe like, higher up in the rick house where it's extracting more wood.
it's got to be. It had to have been pulled from mid to upper tier of the rick house. Like, this does not to me feel like the care and consideration that Heaven Hill normally puts into their barrel proof products.
Mm-hmm.
And this has kind of been an ongoing problem for me with a lot of their barrel proof releases.
You mean since
recently.
the ECBP dropped the 12-year age statement?
Well, if you want to put it in more, defined terms, yes.
Okay, since then, the very best one was, oddly enough, over 13 years old.
Yes. Unfortunately. And it's so funny too. And I remember reading, some comment that was like, hey, remember when Heaven Hill said that these were going to maybe get like over 12 years old, and there's only been one since they said that?
Yep.
Like, yeah, that's such a good point. Like, clearly, I don't know what they're doing. Like, this is...
Well, they also started the single barrel pick
But I've
around the
not
same
s-
time they dropped the 12.
But I've not seen any picks that are 12 years old.
Yeah, they're typically like 8
Yeah.
or
8,
9.
8 to 11
Yeah.
is like 11 is the oldest that I've seen.
Mhm.
And even then they're few and far between.
Right.
I just don't
And
don't
I've
get
had a
it.
couple, and they tend to be a little hot for hot sake
Yeah,
too.
Yes.
exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
So I'm thinking maybe there is something to the age. Age mellows.
I don't know.
I'm much more mellow than when I was younger.
Anybody's who in a never mind. Let's move on, shall we? Guys, what have you been drinking recently?
Holy shit. What haven't I been drinking?
Ah, the age-old response to that question on this podcast. It's so funny because, like, back in the day, I would ask like Swan or somebody, "What have you been drinking recently?" And he would say like, "What haven't I been drinking?" And then like by the end of Eric's run, it was like, not much.
Well, kind of the point of this trip is to come down, see friends, buy some bottles, and then just drink. And what have we done this week?
We've been doing that all over Kentucky,
Yeah. From here to Bardstown to
Louisville.
Lawrenceburg. And yeah, we've drunk all over the heartland of
Yeah,
Kentucky.
the Bourbon Triangle.
Good for you guys.
Yeah.
You, I know you went to Justin's.
We went to both Justin's,
Yeah.
Louisville and Lexington.
I know you went to Peerless,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
You made it to Dark Arts.
Yep.
You had some buff turkey there.
Yep.
That was
Tried 3 buff turkeys over there.
Yeah. Where else have you guys ventured?
Evergreen Liquors in Bardstown. We dabbled in their little
Tasting bar.
bar.
Unfortunately, it was half price Wednesday.
Yeah, I hate when that happens. Hate when that happens.
Aw.
Oh,
Log out.
You
darn.
mean I don't have to pay $60 for this pour? I can get it for $30?
Yep.
Or the deal was you get it half price, or you get a double size pour, which is same thing. It's just
I'm getting comfortable. by the
Adjusting
way. I'm
it,
sorry.
America.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Audio listeners love you to death. I just kind of like leaned back a little bit, but
remember back in the day when Perry played with his hair, you had to take a drink.
you would.
Isn't it a good thing that
you
we
would die?
disbanded that? We got
You
rid
would.
of it.
You would die. No. It's just a nervous compulsion that these days. I think. I don't know.
I would still, after all these years, I would kill you for that head of hair.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. I grew up myself.
Clearly, it's being fertilized.
Good night, everybody. I will not drop these mics. They were expensive.
I would kill him for his back hair
I have very little back hair. Fun fact.
because his wife shaves it. For him.
You can look at my arms and see that I have very little back hair. Come on, man.
We made it to the grooming tips portion of Tidbit.
It's a new segment of the show. It's called Groom and Doom. This is mainly for 50-plus-year-old men who are starting to get unsightly nose and ear hairs.
Oh no, I manscaped everything. Eyebrows,
Joe, you
nose
bleaching?
hairs.
You bleach?
No, but I wax.
Anyway, let's move on. Since nobody asked, I'll go ahead and tell you what I've been drinking recently.
What have you been drinking recently? There,
Well, this past Sunday was Father's Day, and there was a beer not too long ago that Lucy and I tried for the first time. I believe I talked about it on the podcast. It was Lucky Buddha beer, which is imported from China to a New York, I guess, brewery, I believe, or distributor. And I had never had it before, and Lucy and I were both like, this is just one of the most refreshing, crisp beers. Like, we need to maybe make this our house beer. It's, we're all about this. Went to Liquor Barn to get a 6-pack, and it was $15
for
for a 6-pack.
a 6-pack.
That is 6 beers
Damn.
in a pack.
Man,
And so I said, never mind.
Yeah, that's expensive.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
So I Lucy got me one for Father's Day.
Nice.
Yeah, and I broke one out the other night. We were having these like Asian lettuce wraps, phenomenal. And I put it on my story and tagged Lucky Buddha in it, and they followed the podcast from
cool.
that story. And I was
So
like,
that's less than $3 a beer, and it's too much.
it just feels like a lot when you can get some 6-packs for like $8.
Like
Yeah,
Coors
$8,
Light.
yeah.
There's a difference.
I guess you're right. $15 just seems like a lot.
Yeah, for a 6-pack, typically, even craft, you're getting it for around less than $10 for a 6-pack. $8, $9.
Yeah.
Well,
I know it's
that doesn't
imported,
happen where I'm from. So,
You live in the Pacific Northwest.
yeah, everything's more expensive, but the beer's better too. So let's say you
Fair.
go to a bar or restaurant. How much you paying for a bottle of beer?
Ooh, fair point. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
You get to drink this from the comfort of your own home.
You bring up an excellent point. Yeah. On my stream on Thursday as well, I also drank through the Gold Outstanding winners from the IWSC, International Wine and Spirits Competition. If you haven't checked that stream out, please go and do so. It was very fun. There were some surprises in that lineup. I was very, very impressed with some of the North American whiskeys that made it in. I also stream live on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Please go and subscribe. Love to see you there.
I twitch every time I watch it.
That's a nervous thing, though. I have a review that I have to do this week. So you guys don't have to actually do the review with me, but I will pour it for you all. How familiar are you all with Found North?
It's Canadian.
Yeah, just what you had, and that's I've
Cool.
never tried it. Yeah.
Awesome. So before we try the new release, I'll pour you guys a little bit of that's the new one. I'll pour you a little bit of Batch 11, which is an 18-year Canadian whiskey at cask strength.
Is that a bottle for ants?
Dude, I've been saying that so much
glass.
recently.
No.
You guys feel free to have as much of that as you want.
'Cause I just got a bottle of this Larceny, the A125. So you had that?
I don't mind the 125.
This will be our
I
dump
think it's
glass.
pretty good. But this is 64.9. So what is that?
That's really low proof. No. I'm
120.
sorry.
Yeah, the ABV. Yeah.
5.8. If I do my math correct.
Well, you know,
What'd
the-
you say?
The Canadians.
125 or 120?
You said what? 64. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Is that 130.8?
64.9. That is
129.8.
129.45.
We do great with math. Here, this is my Bourbon podcast. Okay.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
I math the shit out of that. Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine.
I don't need it.
That's fine. Give me back. It's
whatever.
Back.
And this is just to kind of give you guys an idea of what they do with their standard offerings of their products.
I get nothing on the nose.
You are shot, my friend.
Apparently, I get nothing. This maybe the slightest hint of vanilla. Maybe.
It
I've
happens.
had barely anything to drink today, and I sniffed my microphone.
He's not getting anything either out of that.
I'm gonna have to wine this.
I think this is a very rich, very complex nose.
You're out of your mind.
I'm not joking. I genuinely think this is a very dense nose. Smell it out of my tulip glass. See if it changes your mind.
But this is a nosing glass.
I understand, but my glass is shorter than yours. It's the first time I've ever bragged about that.
No.
I think you're.
On the nose, I would say, oh, it's very elegant, delicate almost.
Okay, well, let's see if you guys.
I could say I can get some honey out of it. I get some sweetness out of it.
Yeah.
I smell sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, literally, I smell sweet.
Okay, well, 0 for 1 so far.
Well, I will say this, and you could ask Clifton because me and him do a lot of the tastings
Yeah.
and all that. My nose ain't the greatest when it comes to like he knows when I go, oh, I got lemon pledge. It's gonna be one of those kind of nights for the rest of these samples. So yeah. You never judge me, never ask me my notes when it comes to the nose side.
Fair enough.
I would say this is a very polite nose. It's like 129 proof.
Okay.
And I'm not getting any of that ethanol.
Fair enough. All right, let's see what you guys.
Canadians are very polite. So
That is a very good point. Yeah.
you get vanilla. I'm getting some oak char. Honey is a good call.
Honey, yeah.
Maybe a little bit of a white fruit, like a pear, maybe. Some of that coming out.
I'm even getting a hint of cinnamon.
I appreciate that it is ever so slightly more delicate than you would think it would be at basically 130 proof.
Right.
I
Compared to
Nowhere
that
near that.
and how
Yeah.
it was.
I mean,
Oh, yeah,
it's
Larceny drank hotter.
completely different worlds. I'm really glad that we tried the larceny before we
Yeah.
had this.
You know, I know this isn't necessarily like a tasting note, but it reminds me of some of the sugary cereals I had as a kid.
That's a tasty note.
Yeah, but I couldn't.
I know.
I couldn't pinpoint it.
Yeah.
But I could say, yeah, I think I've had this when I
Yeah.
was a kid. I don't know if it was Corn Pops or,
Right.
Kind of reminds me of a cereal I had as a kid.
One of my favorite things about Found North,
You know what? There is a little Captain Crunchy thing going on here.
there kind of is. I agree with you.
Crunch.
One of my favorite things about Found North, just from their mission statement up, is their Canadian whiskey made for bourbon drinkers. And I think that this is a good indication of that, where it's not really so aggressive in one way or another to where you're approaching it from anywhere that doesn't feel like you're unfamiliar with what this whiskey is doing.
Now,
to
Canadian
your
whiskeys
palate.
generally have a lot of rye.
Yes.
Okay. But
this
is like a bourbon mash? Or is it sourced?
The percentages of what is blended into it essentially kind of make it into a bourbon.
Is it a high corn that they use?
I believe so. Yeah, but it varies from batch to batch.
No, say that might explain the corn pop.
Yeah.
Captain Crunch.
Like it probably is primarily an 18-year corn whiskey, if I remember correctly, with 20-year rye, 21-year malted barley.
Well, that
stuff
would
like
explain
that.
why I got a little bit of char
Yeah,
kind of on the back end
right.
and sweetness up front.
Yeah.
Like you said, the honey, the Captain Crunch.
It's a very interesting, different product to give people who are familiar with bourbon.
But again, it's a very elegant,
Yes.
Captain Crunch.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, like me, I am not a Canadian whiskey fan at all. This is fantastic. This is really, really nice. And it gets actually, all whiskeys get better the more you taste it. But third sip in, that proof even goes down even more the more you taste it. It just lets the flavors come out.
So we're going to move on to the Helldiver 2025. This is a 17-year-old cast strength whiskey. It's part of the High Altitude Collection. It is 112.4 proof. The grain ratio is 86% corn, 13% rye, and 1% barley. The blend component is a 20-year corn, a 24-year corn, a 17-year corn, and a 22-year rye. Cask types are sherry, cognac, and new American oak. And it's $170 a bottle.
Also found north.
Yes.
Let me try that.
Also found no.
Viva. Hey, baby, you want to try some Viva? Sitting here drinking some Viva with The boofy Ritter.
Now, remember, you guys don't need to actually review this. This is, for you to enjoy while I do my
We're
work.
helping plant seeds in your brain.
Yeah,
when we say,
exactly.
I get licorice. You go, fair enough.
There is licorice in there. You're right.
This is baked goods all day on the nose.
Yeah.
This is like coffee cake.
And also, this is a media sample provided by the folks at Found North. Thank you to them for doing so.
It's a bottle for ants.
And yeah, it's 100 mils. Also, as with any media review, they have not paid for this either. So.
Doesn't mean we have to shit on it.
But we will if we want to.
On the nose, man, it's a bear claw.
I love that specific
You know,
note.
the bear
That's
claws
awesome.
have that little
Yeah,
bit
yeah.
of goopy stuff on the inside. It's kind of nondescript sweet.
Yeah. No,
You think it's cinnamon, but it's not.
I'm getting. I guess I should talk on the mic. I'm getting some like herbal tea on the nose as well.
Well, now I can. Thanks.
Now that I've brought it up.
Maybe a touch of pencil lead.
Oh, now that you mention it,
Now Todd's like, oh yeah, no, pencil lead.
a little
Garden
Like-
hose.
kind of ripe, fruity, like pear or apricot.
I don't get that, but the fruit that it is something baked in, like you would find in an apple pie.
That's
or
fair. Yeah.
Something like that. It's cooked down.
Mhm.
Doesn't taste like a bear claw.
No, I think the finishing casks are coming through more.
Yeah. I'm getting a lot of the sherry.
I am too.
Yeah.
The sherry is really prominent on that.
There's like it's like as far as the flavors, there's a base of oak. Just kind of like on the bottom of the tongue. It's like in the base of oak. And then I'm getting the added stuff. The sherry, definitely.
It's wild how dominant the sherry note
Yes.
It really
is.
is. It's still quite sweet.
It's interesting.
Have you ever had the brown bread that comes in a can?
Can't say I
You
have,
know,
Joe.
like you have it like at Thanksgiving, or at least some people do. I don't know if it's a southern thing or a northern thing or something.
Sounds
but
more like a northern thing, I got to be honest with you. You're more
the last
northern than
time
I
I-
am here,
the
Todd.
last
Does
time
that
I had
sound?
it was in Florida. We're visiting friends, and it's a brown bread. It's slightly sweet. It comes in a can,
Okay.
and you open it, and it's reminding me of that.
But-
Anyone out there that's had brown bread from a can, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Never had brown bread from a can.
But is Florida the South, though?
Florida's Florida.
Tallahassee, Florida?
It's America's
the South.
wang.
True. That's true. Yeah.
Miami? Not the
Not so
South.
much.
Orlando? Not the South.
Have you looked at like voter rolls? It's South. Well, I've heard people say that Kentucky isn't South, and
That's true.
you know what? It's coming from where I'm from. It's South.
It's South. Yeah. I saw somebody ask, is Kentucky South or Midwest? And then the reply underneath it was yes.
Yeah. Depending on what part of Kentucky you're in. Absolutely.
Like Owensboro is basically the Midwest.
Yeah.
Louisville can teeter the line between the two. I think it's way more Midwest than it is South,
Well,
in some
it's
capacities.
mid. Yeah, it's
Anyway.
so mid. I come here every other year to hang out.
And we're always happy when you do, Joe. I do like this. It's very different from the prior pour that we had.
Right.
For sure. But their regular batches are not typically finished, though. So we're jumping from basically a blending project to a blending and a finishing project.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, this is like, what can Found North do when they're given the opportunity to basically the training wheels are the training wheels are off and they can just run wild. You know, it's barrels like cask finishing series that they do. I don't even think that's what it's actually called, but you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
I would consider this a mood pour.
Like you have to be in the mood for it. Yeah.
You know, you look at it and you go, yeah. You look at it and you go, yeah. And then you're like, yeah, I'm in the mood for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it does feel like something that will continue to change and improve as well. Like,
or change and get funky.
yeah.
Because I could see it can teeter on funky.
Yeah.
You know,
And I'm happy to, experience it
because if
one way or another.
they used an Oloroso sherry, I don't know if it specifies on there.
It did not.
Because Oloroso's got a funk to it.
Yeah.
Nope. PX casks.
Okay. Which generally doesn't funk. It's just sweet.
Yeah.
But I've also got a couple bottles of PX sherry. You know, one's half open in my fridge. And it's like prune juice almost. Like sweet prune juice. It's thick and black and...
Let's see. I'll just go through some of their other notes. The 20-year corn was critical to the blend, providing the necessary thickness in the mid-palate, laying a viscous foundation for the Pedro Jimenez casks to impart a broad range of sweet, dry, herbaceous, earthy, and spicy qualities.
Did you say curvaceous?
I said herbaceous,
Oh.
but curvaceous
I
is
heard
a good word.
curvaceous. I'm like, yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Without dismantling the whiskey structure, after 7 additional months in Pedro Jimenez cognac and new wood casks, the final red blend marks the return of Helldiver in its newest form. I almost stopped speaking at it marks the return of hell. And I was like, no, there's more to it
There's
after that.
Now that it's, opened up a tiny bit, I just took a last sip. I get like raisin and prune right on the tip of my tongue.
Okay.
I mean, it's like there, and it wasn't before.
It wasn't until I read this that I really started to notice it or realize that this is something I was tasting, but red velvet cake.
Okay.
I found red velvet cake just tastes like food coloring to me. That's why I hate it. Because you have to put in like a quart to make it red.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Nose, palate, finish, and price is the way that things are reviewed here on the podcast. Each category is out of 5. Final score is out of 20. I'm going to run through those real quick. Nose.
On the first one, you were rated.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. You guys are not beholden to
Prez
this.
is like,
You can do it for fun if you want to. I don't care.
I'm going to call it a 0.5 because it does have a nose, but that's about it.
It is present and accounted for, but you're not participating in the class, is what he's saying. Nose for me on this is a 3. I think
His nose is shot.
I think it's missing a little bit of the actual whiskey influence. It's being really, I don't want to say bogged down, but I do think it's like, the whiskey is playing coy with a lot of the finishing aspects of this. I think is a
Are you on the second one or the first one?
the second one. I'm not reviewing the batch.
Okay,
that was just for you all to kind of try
the
it.
nose on this one was
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
It was there.
It had a heartbeat. Jeez.
I'd give it a 3 because I love bear claws.
Palate, I'm going to give a 4. I think the whiskey starts to actually present itself a little bit more. I do like sherry finishing, even though it is a little bit of the dominant note. I think that it kind of works in this capacity. what would push it, I think, a little bit further, and I mean, this is just my palate being a bourbon drinker who prefers oakier products, is a little bit more of like this new American oak influence that they said is in this blend. Like it seems to be missing just a little bit for me.
Well, so it doesn't have any brightness, and I like a little bit of brightness.
Yeah, it's a little.
It doesn't do anything. It kinda, it starts here and it just kind of stays there. It's kind of this mid range.
So 4 on the palate. Finish is, I think, a 3.5. It dips a little bit. It doesn't really go anywhere further for me, but it does stay a little bit consistent with the palate. I think it dips just a hair. But overall, I mean, I think the experience of it is really nice. It's by no means like an underdeveloped product. You know, I think it's quite enjoyable. I think at $170 for a 17-year-old product, it's pretty on the money. Getting up to a 24-year-old whiskey in there as well in that blend is pretty spectacular for that money.
I mean, it's worth it. That's a fair price.
Yeah,
but it doesn't mean there's like value there. It doesn't mean that's to be expected.
Well, I mean
that's why. I mean, personally, I would put that in the middle of the 3.
I'm gonna. Yeah,
it's a fair price.
It's a 3.5 for me. Like everything kind of considered, and this is where like price sometimes becomes value, sometimes becomes like experience, and like it's the kind of catch-all category of like, how do you feel? Things, everything gets factored in together.
Yeah, if this was a whiskey, you nosed it and you went and you sipped it and went and that's where the price part, the piercing.
Right.
That's like, okay, it's just $179, but that's where the value goes up.
But yeah, I mean, I think overall this is really pretty solid. It sits at a 14 out of 20 for me. That's still like, if you're a fan, especially of Found North, you enjoy what they do. This is easily a pickup. Try some of their other products as well. If you've never had them before, check it out. Give them a chance. I say go for it. But I mean, it's still like a recommend from me. I don't see why not.
I would recommend it, especially if you are a fan of PX finished cast and solid.
Absolutely.
If that's your jam, I think you would really like this one a lot.
Yeah.
I think it has a lot to offer when it comes to that. I would absolutely recommend it.
But again, if the PX, or sherries in general, are not your jam, then I would ding it. Because the sherry is pretty dominant in it.
Yeah, for sure.
You're not getting as many of like the classic bourbon flavors. As you would hope.
Yeah. Guys,
and girls,
and MPs,
gals.
Well, first of all, we did do a little bit of Pour Me, Pour You behind the paywall for Patreon. So if you want to hear that, again, patreon.com/MyBourbonPodcast from the $5 and up tiers. You can hear that. But
we did not sing it.
Okay. We don't have any barrel rings this week because apparently everybody who did barrel rings fled the coop when the Whiskey Mutant left. So thanks for that. Do you guys have any high proof hot takes this week?
There are no good movies about horses.
Yeah, that I swear to God, that was a discussion for about 20 minutes in the car coming back from Louisville. I swear to God. And it was mainly a one-person conversation.
Oh, it was a soliloquy.
It was like a monologue.
He was filibustering. Well, can't top that. Moving on. Tips and bits. Segment of the show where we recommend things that we want you all to check out, that we've been watching, reading, listening to, video games we've been playing, stuff like that. Joe, Todd, anything you want to recommend?
I'll let you go first.
All right, so it's this show's been out for a long time, but I just recently got into it is Empire Boardwalk.
You said that backwards.
Boardwalk Empire, yeah, that one too. That's how new it is to me. I can't even get it right. So, but no, I started binge watching that one, and I'm through about halfway through season 2.
Nice.
And love the show. I mean, if nobody's ever seen it before, go ahead and check it out. It's a little Prohibition. You haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh yeah, it's a little bit about Prohibition. It's got Al
right.
Capone's in it. Like they actually have
Nice.
George Remus is in it too. I mean, they actually bring some prominent figures from Prohibition character-wise in
Very
there.
cool.
And it's nice. If you like that gangster, 20s gangster, 30s gangster.
Are they
style.
making a Boardwalk Empire movie or something? I feel like they are. I don't know.
I
could be making that up. Don't trust me on that.
I'd be all over. I mean, like I said, I think there's like 6 seasons, maybe 6, 7 seasons. So
Yeah.
and it's been done. So I could absolutely see they want to bring it back. I could see them maybe doing something, but I haven't gotten far enough to know what kind of cliffhanger they finished the series off. But highly recommend that one if you like gangster style, Prohibition style stuff. A lot of fun.
Joe, what you got?
I don't know what you got on your phone.
I'm looking to see if there's a Boardwalk Empire movie, and it does not look like there is.
Well, mine probably goes out to, well, crap, you elderly listeners and viewers. But way back when, in the 70s and 80s, and he may have touched the 90s, was a radio and record producer named John Peel in England. And for decades, he would have either established or up-and-coming bands. You know, back in the 70s, they were all rock bands. And then he got more indie into the 80s and that kind of stuff. But the idea is they would come into the studio and they would record either a song they were working on or a song that was about to go on the album or a song that they were playing with. We're talking AC/DC and Queen, and into the 80s, you got like Smashing Pumpkins. Was that more 90s?
Yeah, Smashing
late
Pumpkins
80s,
is 90s.
late-
Yeah.
I think they started late
Smashing
80s. but-
Pumpkins, all the boys from Athens, Georgia. See,
REM.
REM, yeah.
Are they from Athens?
And,
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Everything, in between. I mean, you go like the playlist. I think you can go on YouTube and find it. And it's got to be 1,000 on there.
Jeez.
And some of the bands are on there, 2, 3 times. Bowie, and I listen to the older stuff. But it's amazing because you'll have an album. Let's say it's a Queen album, and you know all the words and that kind of stuff. And then you listen to the song on one of these Peel sessions. I think it's called Peel sessions.
Right.
Or you're like, oh, it's like the song in its infancy, and you're like, oh, this is really neat.
Yeah.
So if you got a favorite band, look on YouTube for like the Peel sessions and look up that
That's
band.
awesome.
And there's a good chance they recorded for John Peel, and you get to hear basically like alternate takes or early takes.
That is so
of
cool.
songs that you love, or songs that you've never heard. Like, well, that's neat.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I'd recommend look for Peel sessions on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll have to go check that out for sure. Still playing on the Switch too. A lot. Well, really when I have time. Yeah, Joe doesn't like video games. But I've been going back and playing the Switch Zelda games a lot. The updated graphics are phenomenal. Just the gameplay in general has really been improved by the improved frame rate and just overall quality of the visuals, which is nice because there were so many frame drops, and I was so frustrated with it on the original Switch.
Frame drops keep in my head.
And I won't harp on too much about it, but I am enjoying the new Switch quite a bit. This is a very I'll talk about this too because it bounces off of the music thing. Anthony Fantano who does the Needle Drop on YouTube. He's a music reviewer. He's coined himself as the world's busiest, or the internet's busiest music nerd. I really enjoy his music reviews.
I've always strived to be the internet's busiest something.
We're not allowed to talk about what that is, though, on this podcast.
It's a career goal.
Yeah. I was going to go somewhere, and I'm not going to. But he just did an interview with a guy named Adam Friedland, who used to be on a podcast with Stavros Halkias called Come Town, which was hilarious. But Adam went off and did his own show.
And now he's the second busiest musical nerd.
Who, Adam Friedland?
Yeah.
But Fantano did this interview with Adam that was just all sorts of it was kind of like Eric Andre awkward, not really contentious, but you don't really know where things are going to go. And it's just really you're kind of squirming a little bit, but that's kind of Adam Friedland's sense of humor. It's just very bizarre. He did an interview with Anthony Weiner.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
A few weeks ago.
At one time, he was the busiest.
Yes. He was the busiest. Absolutely.
And now he's running for city council in New York City.
Good luck with that, Wiener.
You gotta dust yourself off sometimes and get back in the game.
Anyway,
I think we should have more fun with Anthony Weiner.
It's a very contentious interview, the one with Anthony Weiner. It's actually pretty funny.
Well, considering the first question was...
Anyway, let's wrap things up there. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me for this episode.
A quick little
Yes.
anecdote?
Yeah.
So last Monday, I turned 64. Yes.
And happy
Happy
late birthday to you.
I'm an old man, Eric. So about 3 months ago, I went to the movie theater to see the Captain America movie,
Uh-huh.
which was fine, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not good. It's fine.
I still haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. So I was walking up to the ticket seller, to get my ticket, and she said, "Are you a senior citizen?"
Oh, no.
And I looked her dead in the eye and I went, "No." So I got my ticket. I walked over to the concession line to get myself a soda, and it dawned on me. So I literally went, "Fuck." I am a senior citizen. I mean, out loud, fuck.
Reality hit you
It had
smack
not
in the
occurred
face.
to me until that day that I was a senior citizen.
Well,
Now, I don't ask for senior citizens discounts, but if they offer, I take it.
now he does. Somehow I think Eric willed this into existence, by the way. It wasn't the passage of time that did. It was Eric's endless ribbing.
Yeah, and to add a little poke in the ribs with a stick, when we were in New Orleans back in March, we were getting tickets to the aquarium down there, which I highly recommend. It's good. So we're looking at the thing, and
aquariums.
I'm like, "I need 2 tickets, please." And my wife literally said, "Aren't you a senior citizen?" And again, in front of this ticket girl, I went, "Fuck." Yes. 1 ticket and 1 senior ticket, please.
$3 off.
$3
All for
off.
$3.
Of $65. Well,
So,
is it worth
yeah.
it for my humiliation?
Right.
You're daggum right it is.
So yeah, wish me a happy birthday and then start poking me with sticks. I can take it.
Well, happy birthday to the first senior citizen we've ever had on this podcast.
Fuck.
Oh, man. And thank you guys again sincerely for
Thank you for having
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, thanks
on
for
the
having
show.
us on.
It's been fun.
I'm glad we could help you out.
Yes, no, it's been nice to not be sitting in my basement and staring at a wall. Instead, I'm staring at a wall in the Spring Hill Suites by Marriott. Bon boy.
Bon boy.
Bon boy.
Aj.
Thank you to them, by the way. Yes.
If you want more of this, I've got a bonus episode, of course, that comes out on Mondays, and the pregame chats that come out on Tuesdays. You know,
Does
the Patreon.
Anthony Weiner come up at all in your bonus episode?
No.
Oh, I'm going to have
Maybe
to
he
call
will.
in.
You know what?
I'm
Maybe
going to
he
have
will.
to call in.
Can you do the voice? Man, this really is the cancellation episode.
Oh, like Anthony Weiner listens to it.
Dude,
Yeah.
he's got a lot of free time these days.
Yeah.
You'll know when you get a text from him, though.
Yeah.
And so will half of America.
Hey, do you want to hear what Todd's nickname is?
Hey,
there we go.
Patreon.com/MyBourbonPodcast is where you can get all the bonus content, including the pregame chats and the bonus episodes, and early access to this podcast uncut and unedited. Yes, and it's a great way to support the show, not just on a monthly basis, but on a weekly basis as well. I thought you were leaning into the camera when you were. I just saw you out of the corner of my eye.
I don't think I've looked at it the whole time.
No, not you, Todd. I
Yeah.
just was like, I saw him do this, and I thought he was leaning into the camera. It was interesting. You can also follow the show at My Bourbon Pod on all social media platforms. If you want to get your own apparel and merchandise, bourbonshop.threadless.com. If you want to send an email, this is my bourbon. If you want to send an email, it's thisismybourbonshop@gmail.com. If you want to send us anything in the mail, you can do so to our P.O. Box. It's P.O. Box 22609, Lexington, Kentucky, 40522. What else? Oh, Barrel Rings. It's a segment of the show that you can be a...
627-859 Barrel Rings. I don't know.
Don't call that number. You're going to be charged. No, the real number is 859-428-8253. Carrier message rates may apply. You can call and leave us a voicemail or send us a text. We'll read it out or listen to it here on the show. You can also leave us a 5-star rating and review on your podcast app of choice, and we'll read it out on the show as well. And I think that does it for this week's episode. Guys, thank you again for being here.
Thank you, Barry.
I will see you here this same bat channel, same bat time next week. But until then, I'm Perry.
I'm Todd.
I'm Joseph.
And this is My Bourbon Podcast.
Bye.
Cheers.